Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a little bit of a difficulty tonight here. Hold on just a moment. And let's see if we can get this thing straightened out. Let's see what we got going here. Okay. I hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Looking like we got a full house trying to come in here. And we should be on the air here, which I'm checking to see, make sure everything like that. Okay, I'm checking to see if we're online here. I think I'm online. There we go. I'm getting something now. I'm sorry about the difficulty tonight, folks. We were having some kind of technical stuff going on with StreamYard. I don't know what it is, but hopefully we will get ourselves straightened out here before much longer. I want to welcome you all in here. Hello to all of you. Yeah, I hope you're all doing all right. Do you are we on live now? I mean, can you see me? Everything going okay with that? Let me know if you don't. If you're not getting me here. Somehow or another, this screwed up. I don't know what happened with it, but we'll get it straightened out here. I hope you all are having a great week. Been a great week for you so far. Finally, it's Friday, yeah? Yeah. Hello, Joanne, Blue Eyed Bandit, Manisha, Parabugs, the unknown. Hello. Welcome you all aboard here. Philip Cleveland's in the house. All right. Could be these summer storms going on. I don't know what this weird stuff is, but um, it's crazy crap, man. Yes, it is. But anyway, I'm getting there. I hope you, wherever you're at and you got the storms going on, I hope you're ducking down low, okay? Just in case. Um, I'm in my sort of emergency studio tonight and all that. I'm a little under the weather tonight, so I'm going to hang in there with you as long as I can. I'm going to stay in the saddle as long as I can, folks. Absolutely. But let's go back to the comments here. For some weird reason, I lost my back screen. That's really weird. I don't know. There's some really strange stuff going on, but we can live without the back screen, maybe, if need be. Long as the signal is going out, right? Mushroom and garlic hot soup. That sounds good to me, Philip. Let's bring some over, buddy. But I hope you're all are doing good, and it's been a long week. Yes, it has. A very long week. Hopefully, it's going to be a better weekend. Absolutely. And that's what we're banking on and into the next week. And, you know, I'm going to see if I can pick up on this here. The live that's going on. Okay, that's better. I don't know why I don't know what happened to my background, but that doesn't matter a whole lot. As long as I can read your comments and connect up with you. Tonight is open discussion night. So we're going to talk whatever the heck we want to talk about. Okay. And I want to say something here at the beginning, folks. Okay. And not just something I got to get off my chest. I've been watching some news reports today and stuff like that going on. And let's see, my Chinese waiter thinks all white people look alike. I gave my food to the wrong customer. Wait, never mind, and that wasn't my waiter. That's pretty good, Blazer. I got you. Anyway, I've been watching the news today, man, and it's really bugging me. And I got to say this, okay? If you march through the streets in the cities and towns of my country with a foreign flag, okay, destroying property, breaking the law, and most of you are not even supposed to be here, and you're here illegally, you are an enemy of my country, my friend. I hate to say it, but you are an enemy of my country. If you are out there disrespecting the soldiers and the policemen who guard our safety, if you're calling, and they're being real ugly to them, you ought to hear some of the stuff they're saying to them, man, disrespecting them that way. If you're doing that, my friend, you are my enemy, and you are an enemy of my country, and that's all I got to say about it. You need to be drug out. They need to take your stupid little cowardly mask off, and they need to try your butt for treason. And if found guilty, they ought to might find a nice long tall tree somewhere. That's all I got to say about it. If you're doing that kind of crap in this country, you don't belong here. You need to go home. You need to go back wherever you come from. That's all. It's pure and simple. If you're doing that, you're an enemy of this country, and you're my enemy. I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. I had to say that. I had to get that off my chest. You know what? I took an oath one time, and it's still good. Oaths are never broken. They die with you, supposedly. And I took an oath to the Constitution of this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I'll never forget that. I stand by that oath to this day. And anybody that can't do that, you need to just leave this country. Even you don't need to be here. You need to find you someplace else to go. That's all I got to say. Hand is sore today. Uh-oh. You need one of those programs where you can talk talk and dictate. Those are nice. Yeah, so are the politicians that supporting them. Absolutely blue-eyed, man. Absolutely. They need to be tried for treason as well. There comes a point when you got to stand up for what's right, and it's, you got to stand up for what's right, or you might well just leave. That's all I got to say about it. Absolutely. Sure, you got a right to protest, but you do not have a right to hurt people, destroy property, do all that kind of burn cars and do all that. You do not have that right. And most of them people I'm seeing out there are skinny little white boys wearing masks doing this junk. You know what they are? They're anarchists. That's what they are. This is their hobby. But they don't have enough time that they're playing around with their video games. They're going to go out and do this kind of crap. Come on out from behind that mask, coward. Let's see who you really are. You little cowards. What they are. Good thing I'm not a policeman anymore. But that's all I got to say about that. Well, I appreciate you all being here tonight. We had a little rough start here, but we're doing okay. And my good brother, Big Dwarf's in the house. Wizard Moon is too. All right, good to see you all. Blazer, I talked about earlier, and let's see who else. Philip is here, of course. My good buddy Philip, and Joanne, and Shiro. One of my top moderators, Shiro, is in the house, so y'all behave yourselves now. Blazer and Shiro are my top mods here. Better watch out for them. I got to get around to making more mods here, folks. Absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, yeah. It's I was gonna say I appreciate each and every single one of you. Okay, you are members of my wolf tribe. You can be proud of that. You're members of the wolf tribe, especially if you're in the Shadow Hunters Club. You can be real proud of that. Okay, the wolf tribe prevails. Absolutely, and I'll tell you something else. They're not gonna stop the signal. They can do whatever they may try to do, but they're not gonna stop the signal. And people like you out there, my friends, are the one that's going to keep that signal going. You're the ones that's going to do that. That's all I got to say about that, too. And now, so I salute you. I salute you, all of you out there that are supporting this program and supporting people like me, like my good friend Jessica Jones and like my good friend Gerald Fountain and Jane and all this stuff. When you support these people and you support me, you are helping to keep that signal going. Absolutely. Absolutely. I got a big announcement to make tonight for everybody. I'm real excited about it. I got a big announcement. Shoot and ask questions later in Midwest. There you go, buddy. You got that right. And don't forget our good friend out in LA, Pahati Pop, too. So let's keep her in our prayers, too, just in case. I don't think she's having any trouble right now, but let's just hope it stays that way for her. And absolutely. Hello, Head Trip. Anyway, yeah, you're helping to keep the signal going, and that makes you heroes in my book, my friends. Don't you forget that. That makes you heroes in my book. All right, Tiger Eye and all the rest of you. You know what I'm talking about here. But yeah, I mean, there comes a time, there comes a point in time when you got to look down, and you better know what side of the line you're on, my friends. You know what I mean? If you are against honesty and you're against goodness and you're against all good things out there, if you're against law and order and justice and all that, then you are on the wrong side. I don't care what you say and what you do. You are wrong, wrong, wrong. You're about as wrong as it gets, my friend. Look down and see, make sure what side you're on. Make sure. It's very important. Be fair and shoot in between questions. That's a good one. I have to remember that. But yeah, that's just that's some stuff kind of stuck in my craw today. Kind of hard to swallow. You know what I mean? But anyway, no, you be careful out there, my good friend Bigfoot Dwarf. You keep your head low, bud. Keep a low profile. And I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about Heidi and all the rest of you out there on the West Coast. I'm not getting down on California. I love California, okay? But there's some bad people in California. There's bad people everywhere. I'm not singling California out. There's bad people everywhere. And the day has come when good people are gonna have to speak up and face these bad people and say, no, no, you're not gonna pass this line, buddy. I'm holding the line, you know? And that's what we're gonna have to do. Absolutely. But I'll get off my soapbox now. I'll get off my soapbox for a while. Okay, I got some good news that I want to share with all of you, my friends. Great news, and I have been honored, greatly honored by my good friend D.A. Winesong. D.A. Winesong, she's gonna put me in her next book. I'm gonna do the foreword for her next book on Monster Hunters of America, a best-selling series, by the way. She's letting me do I've already done it. The foreword. It's gonna be in the book. My name's gonna be on the cover with a foreword thing. I am greatly honored. I love this series, by the way. Monster Hunters of America. That's my kind of people anyway. But so I want to share that news with you. This is a big, big deal, my friends. A big deal. She is a fantastic writer. She's already written well over 46 books, I think. 46 books. It's prolific in my book. Okay, folks. Absolutely. And that is a best selling. I love the series. So it's for kids, but it's really got a grown up slant to it. The Monster Hunters of America. If you get a chance to check it out, I will definitely be showing you very soon a copy of that book online for you to be watching out for it. And please support D.A. Winsong with that. If you don't mind, do that. Winsong is her name. Wysong. D.A. Winsong. I guess that's how you pronounce it. And it is fantastic. I've been reading her. I've been a fan of hers for a long time. She is a great writer. I have really enjoyed her work. Absolutely. And I will tell you one thing about her again, and this was what makes a good writer, my friends. You got to thoroughly investigate and research whatever subject you're writing on. Okay. If you don't do that, you're not going to do good. And that is the mark of a great writer. The better the research, the better the writer. That's the way it goes. Thank you all. I appreciate it. This is a big deal because I've always wanted to do this for an up and coming writer like this. And she is a well known best selling author. Okay. She has done a lot in the past, and I support her. We had a great conversation today about some stuff about the Casket Girls of New Orleans and all that. And by the way, if you miss the two shows I did with my good friend um, Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress, please go back and watch them. There was a great one on Monday, and we did that one on Monday about and then we did one on Wednesday about the Casket Girls. Go check it out. Go check it out. We were smoking hot this week. Smoking hot. Absolutely. Oh, I'm dropping everything tonight. Here, hold on. Here we go. But anyway, and I keep trying to read your comments here, and my pad keeps falling off. Machete is in the house, huh? You ever watch that? You must be a fan of that Machete movie series, huh? Machete. I watched a good many of them. No, my pad's falling off here. My pants are on, okay. They're in place. I don't know. This pad's not working right here or something. I don't know. I've been messing around with this pad here trying to get it to work, but it's not working right or something. I don't know what's going on. Well, let me reopen this a moment and see if I can get it back to where it was here. Yeah, I don't know. Crazy thing's not working. It's a non-technical night, folks. Something like that. Crazy thing. I don't know. Excuse me. I'm messing with this thing here. I know it's messing with me, actually. Okay. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. It's working as long as it's working. That's the main thing. Experiencing lung issues. My gosh. That doesn't sound good. Machete said everybody in his area is experiencing lung issues. That doesn't sound good at all. Somebody said something the other day about the chemtrails have started back again. Have you heard anything about that? I heard something about that. It would not surprise me if that's not connected. They're definitely not telling us a lot, my friends. Absolutely. They are absolutely not telling us a whole lot. That's for sure. There, I finally got that back. Yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about that tonight, about this weekend coming up. You need to understand, you need to stay out of crowds, no matter where you're going or whatever. This would be a good weekend, my friends, for you to stay home if you don't absolutely have to go somewhere or go or run a job or whatever. That's understandable. I'm talking about if you have the choice of staying home, it might be a good week to do it, a weekend to do it anyway. Like 5 channels going. Well, don't forget one of the prophetic things about the end times, my friend, is that there will be signs and wonders in heaven. And I think we're seeing some of that as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, be careful out there this weekend, okay? They're going to be having these no king protests and all this other crap going on. We've got insurrection going on in this country, folks. I don't care what name you want to hang on it, whatever you want to call it. It is nothing but insurrection, point blank. That's what's going on here. Things may get a little rocky and rough before that's over with. We could end up losing your country and your identity if you're not careful. So we need to, stay on guard and be sharp, keep our wits sharp. My ex-girlfriend changed my password and locked me out of my biggest channel. My gosh, that wasn't good. Not good at all. The Skywatch Chronicles. I always used to do a lot. I love to do a lot of skywatches in the summertime. See a lot of UFO activity and stuff there. Gerald knows about this. Me and Gerald talked about this a lot. Just to go out and get you a lawn chair, a comfortable cushion, and sit back and just take each quadrant of the sky, 30 hour at a time. A good skywatch runs about 4 hours. Okay, and you take a quadrant, north, south, east, and west of the sky, 1 hour at a time, and then change your direction. Just keep watching. You will see some amazing stuff going on. Gerald and I talked about this not long ago. That's a good sky watch. I like a good sky watch. And summer, of course, is the best time to do it. Although winter is good too. Winter's cold, clear, and crisp, but it can be uncomfortable. Definitely. So summer's another good time, unless the mosquitoes eat you up, tote you off. I want to tell you something about the mosquitoes. They're so rough in my neighborhood, my friends. They carry machetes. Okay. But yeah, I always love a good sky watch because you never know what you're gonna see. You got to keep looking up. You never know what you're gonna see. Yeah, you got some storms along the East Coast this weekend. I think Kyle said that he was experiencing some up that way, and right now, as a matter of fact. And yeah, we're supposed to have a kind of a stormy weekend in some parts, definitely. And it's gonna be not if it's not the atmosphere storms, it's gonna be human storms. If you know what I mean. There is DAY song. I was just talking about you, my friend DA. Uh, I was giving everybody the good news about your upcoming book in July. I'm really excited about it, and I'm gonna get a picture and be showing it on. We'll probably have to do a book review on it. Absolutely, on Paranormal Point of View. That's what we do on this program, Paranormal Point of View, and I do some book reviews on that, and we will definitely be reviewing. That's one book we're definitely going to review. I'm excited about it. Yeah, but I was just bragging on you a few minutes ago about you being one of the best writers out there because you do your research. You know your research, and that's what makes a great author every time. Yeah, the mosquitoes seem like they're getting bigger every year, my friend. So watch out for them. They can be dangerous individuals. And seriously, that is the most dangerous critter on this planet, the mosquito. It kills a lot more people than people really truly realize. It is a real man killer. Absolutely. Well, you're quite welcome, DA. Thank you for the honor of writing that. I've always wanted to do that. I appreciate that, and I'm excited too, definitely. And once it gets published, we are definitely going to push that baby out there. Yes, we are. Absolutely. Absolutely. Researchers do you that way, DA. It can be very much like I call it, sticky. Once you get stuck in it, it's kind of hard to get unstuck, especially when you get down at the bottom of the rabbit hole and find out you're really facing a network of rabbit holes. That's the way it goes. Yeah, you always got a lot of critters out for blood out there. If it's not vampires, it's mosquitoes and ticks. They always seem to seek you out. Leashes and all that. I tell you, those leashes are bad. If you ever got a leash on you, I waded through a creek one time. There was actually a swamp, and I come out on one side. And I had leeches all over my legs, man. Look, I didn't go up over my waist. And when I got out of there, I had them. They were all over my legs. You can't get those suckers off of you if your legs are wet and they're wet. There's no way you can take your finger and pull one. You got to take a knife and scrape them suckers off. You know. So those leashes can be rough. But when I worked at the hospital, I don't know if a lot of people realize this. We kept leashes in the pharmacy. They're good to put on you if you've had a hand or a leg reattached. You put these leeches on here, and they will get your blood flowing again. Very interesting what they can do with leeches. But it is definitely not something you want to run into. Those leashes, absolutely, can be little mean little critters. And they leave some pretty bad little bite marks on you too once you get them off. Leeches suck, definitely. They're like vampires. There was an interesting DA. I was thinking about this if you're still there. I was thinking, about this the other day. The interesting thing about vampires is they have a weird psychological twist. They have a thing about wanting to count stuff all the time. Hello there, Cryptid Huntress. Welcome in, dear. Good to have you here. We're talking about vampires a little bit here. But they have a weird psychological twist where they want to count stuff. They sort of have an obsession to count. And if you can throw rice on the floor, or you're supposed to leave your broom there or something, they want to stop and count this stuff, and so that slows them down. And hopefully they get slowed down to the break of day and they have to leave. That's an interesting psychological twist for the vampires. That's kind of strange. But I was just, Jessica, I was just talking about the it sounds similar to the Rougarou. Yeah. Yeah. The rougarou is a more spiritual type thing, a animal like thing, kind of like a wendigo in some ways, kind of like it. Now, not exactly like it, but a little bit like it. That's an interesting facet of the wendigo and all that. I've done some wendigo hunting in my time too, and it is a representation. It does not have antlers, by the way, folks. That is a Hollywood thing. Jessica knows this. They don't have antlers like you see them. They are a spirit of hunger and darkness. That's what these things are. That's what they represent. They're gigantic, by the way. They are giants, supposedly. But they just look like dead zombies, is what they basically supposedly look like. But it's what they do to people that is so dangerous and so insidious. They possess you. They can take over you, and the Rougarou possesses you to a certain extent. You are under the power and the curse of the Rougarou. You are possessed. That's an interesting aspect of it as well. Fascinating stuff. The Wendigo is a person possessed by spirit. Absolutely. Usually, when they show up in human form, they're possessed. But when they show up in Wendigo form, they're spiritual beings that look like gigantic zombies. That's what basically, the ribs are sticking out, their meat's falling off of them. They are a spirit of darkness and hunger. They represented that to the Native Americans. They represent darkness and hunger. The lean times during the winter months. That was the main thing of the Wendigo. You know. Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that went on with stuff like that. Supposedly amongst the northern tribes, especially. But some people say they may have, and I've run into this situation. I've had some people come to me and say, "Oh, you need to come to my house. You need to come to my property. I've got a Wendigo here." Well, they say they don't really have a Wendigo. They think that's what they think it is they think it's some kind of weird thing walking around. But let me tell you something. There are Indian legends. There are indigenous people's legends about a certain, and I'm investigating this. You might want to look into it sometime. There are certain women among some of the Indian tribes that supposedly could turn into deer. Some of the spirits could do that. Would this be the not deer or not non-deer things that you hear people talking about? That's another interesting aspect. I love these Native American legends, man. They are wild. They have a lot of stuff. Yeah, if the Wendigo possesses you, you turn into a murdering cannibal. Yeah, cannibal. Yeah, because you can never eat enough. You just eat, 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 eat. That's the spirit of hunger and darkness that they were afraid of. They were scared of that, and that's what it represents to them, the Wendigo. But that is interesting. But you look into the deer women. They're called the deer women. Okay. And if you're still there, Jessica, Dave, maybe both of y'all might want to check it out. The Deer Women is a fascinating legend. And some of them turn in, and here's a connection to it. You hear every now and then of people spotting a white deer. The white deer is supposed to a lot of them meant it was a spirit animal, and it was connected to the deer woman. Very interesting stuff. I'm gonna have to get in do some more research into it, but it's fascinating stuff. Absolutely. You've heard of the Deer Lady. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, there is one with the Fox Lady that's supposed, and there is also. Now, get this. Some of you will be real squeamish with this, but there is a lady that the Indian legends tell about that can turn into a giant spider woman. Oh yeah, and there are legends in Japan about that as well. That would be freaky too. That's a freaky cryptid when you think about it. God, in Korean furniture for good luck. Yeah. Yeah, the deer lady. That's an amazing story. And of course, the Cherokee, and they are, to me, the most fascinating of all the tribes of the Cherokee. They were very diverse in their folklore. Very. They had some fascinating stuff. Of course, you know about Spearfinger and the Raven Mocker. I would not want to run it. The Raven Mocker is the one witch that scares the other witches. That's how bad the Raven Mocker is. The other witches don't want anything to do with it. Skinwalkers would be afraid of the Raven Mocker because the Raven Mocker has much more power than just shape shifting, which it does that too. But it has the power of life and death over things. Freaky stuff, man. And of course, the Cherokees talked about dragons. They believed in dragons. The list goes on and on and on. And they had the Nanaha. The Nanaha are almost like spiritual beings, like almost like angels to them. The Nanaha. Very interesting stuff. Hunting for the Wampus Beast, which is Native Americans in Appalachian Mountains. Yeah, I went hunting for the Wampus Beast one time. I was telling Jessica this story the other day. We were out hunting in the mountains of North Carolina. It was a dark. It really was a dark, stormy night. By the way, folks. Well, it had just fallen. Night had fallen, and it was stormy. There was a lot of lightning going on and all that. And I had two Cherokee friends with me, and we were trailing what we thought at the beginning was the Wampus cat. Now, the Wampus cat supposedly is just a giant mountain lion with 6 legs. Okay. And we thought we were trailing this, and we could never get a clear track on what we were trailing. And finally, we trailed and tracked this thing down by next to a creek. And it was kind of muddy. And finally, we got a clear track line. Now, a track line means you can see a long length of tracks. Everybody stopped, and one said something to the other one in Cherokee language, And I said, "What did he say?" And he said, "I didn't sign on to hunt no damn werewolf." He said, "This is a werewolf we're tracking." And I look at the prints, and sure, honest to God, they are big. They look like a big, giant dog prints. Okay, they look like wolf prints, but they're longer. They're strange looking. And the other one says, "Yeah, that's it. That's the end. We're going home. This is the end of the hunt. We leave. We're not going to trail. We're not going to track a werewolf." And they left. So of course, I had to leave too. But we left at the end. That was the end. That's the end of the story. But the weird thing is, ended up trading one thing to others. And here's the bad thing about it: we could clearly see. Now listen very closely to what I'm about to say. In that track line, we could clearly see where this thing was going on all fours, and all of a sudden it was on two. Wolves don't usually do that, my friend. Not regular wolves, anyway. But it was a freaky situation. Yeah, the book 6 of the Monster Hunters America. Yeah, I have been reading. I've read that series. I enjoy it. I enjoy that series, Monster Hunters America. It's great, even though it's supposed to be juvenile. It don't seem that way to me. It seems like it's written for grown people as well in many aspects. It's great, great series. Hello, Jason. Good to have you here, man. I know the creature in the Ozarks. My ancestors came from the Ozarks. So yeah, you got the Ozark howler. You know what the howler is, don't you? You've heard of that? I've always wanted to go look for that. That sounds like an interesting cryptid. The Ozark howler. But that's fascinating stuff out there. Absolutely. Very fascinating. I'm just reading your comments here. Yeah, Linda Godfrey was a good friend of mine. She and I talked a lot. She believed that without a doubt, the last time I talked with her, and I really do miss her. Last time I talked with her, we talked about the Beast of Bray Road. We were talking about that. She believed without a doubt it was a werewolf. And I think that what happened in the LBL, those people were unalived, and I don't think that was by a dog man. That sounds more like what a werewolf would do. Vampires are an entirely new creature. Yeah, vampires are. I want to tell you something, DA, about the vampire that you got to. I'm not going to say admire, but you got to, respect. And they are so much like us. That makes them very dangerous monsters of all. That makes them the most dangerous monsters of all. They're too much like us, and they are us in a way. Yeah, Linda Godfrey was a great woman. Yes, sir. She knew her stuff. She was very another, just like I was talking about DA there. She was a great researcher. You gotta do your research, folks. You got to do it. Absolutely. They gonna make or break you. I'll tell you another good guy that I always like to hang out with, J.C. Johnson. He was one of the best trackers out there, boy. J.C. could find them. J.C. had a lot of run-ins with skinwalkers. Now, D.A., I might have to tell you sometime about the time I ran into the two Cherokee skinwalker sisters. That was a weird episode. I talked about that to some of my members on here the other day. I'm gonna have to do a show on that. That was a really freaky thing. There were two Cherokee skinwalker sisters. I had a lot of interesting things happen in the Cherokee Mountains. Yes, well, it did not turn out to be very good. No, it didn't. It was kind of freaky, and I was very young when this happened. I was not about 16 years old or something, and I didn't know what at that time what a skinwalker was. Now I knew witches could change, but skinwalkers weren't talked about that much then, like they are now. But these two sisters were real freaky, and what happened just came out of nowhere. And it was something I definitely was not expecting. Absolutely not. I learned a lesson that night. You'll always expect the unexpected. You won't be disappointed. Yeah, and there was a lot of other things going on Bray Road too that you don't hear too much about. You need to get some of Linda Godfrey's books. I'm sure they're still available on Amazon, but eventually they probably will go out of print. So you do need to get you some if you don't have any. I have some in my library, of course, but you might want to think about that. Hello, Heidi Pop. Welcome aboard, dear. Good to have you. I was just talking about you earlier. Hope everything is going good for you out that way. But yeah, um, it's some wild stuff. Absolutely. When you get into cryptozoology, it gets real freaky. That's why I liked it. I've liked it from day one. That was, the very first case I ever investigated when I was 15 years old was a werewolf sighting. I investigated that on and I think I came to the conclusion in the end that the werewolf came out of a bottle. It wasn't a real werewolf. But anyway, we do have, and Jessica did a fantastic show on that, by the way, about the werewolf of Anderson, right here where I live, Anderson, South Carolina. The werewolf of Anderson. Fascinating story, my friends. It made national, international headlines. And that's what I thought was happening that day when I heard. I said, "What? werewolf, another werewolf here. I got to check this out, definitely. So that was the strange thing about that. That's good, Heidi. We're sending you all those good vibrations, dear. I hope you stay that way. I hope you stay safe. Absolutely. Be careful this weekend, though. No matter where you go, I think we're going to have to be careful about getting in large crowds this weekend. Might not be a good idea. Definitely not. Oh yeah, the farmer. Yeah, I've heard about him. He's done a lot of investigation on Bray Road, but there was talk about some ritual sites being found around Bray Road. I don't know if you ever heard about that or not, but I'm looking at the connection between some of this dogman and ritual activities supposedly going on out there. Fascinating stuff. Once when I was 10 years old, I ordered a Ocean box when I opened it, he flew off. That's the way it goes. Huh? Those ghosts, huh? And he flew away. Uh, when I was a kid, we used to have all kinds of things you could buy for, you could buy like forts, to put up. You could buy, they were great kind of kits that you could. I wish I had some of those kits. They'd probably be worth a lot of money now. But you had all the famous monster kits. You had the monsters from the TV series, the monsters. I had the coach, by the way, the coach and the Dracula that Grandpa had. I put that thing together when I was a kid. You had all kinds of great stuff like that. Yeah, there's a connection with Dogman and werewolf and ritual stuff going on here, folks. Yeah, absolutely. The good old days. Oh yeah, people don't know. We wish we could go back in time and get some of that stuff away from ourselves and bring it back. We'd probably get mad though. Some man showed up and stole my kid. But I would love to rescue some of that stuff from time. I was making those with your cousins. Oh yeah. The one thing I was never really good at, I could put the models together, no problem. It was painting them. I was a sloppy painter. Some people could really paint them good. I couldn't do that. Oh, the candy bugs, the jiggle with jello. And of course, you remember, I think I never had one, but there was a very famous one where you could turn potatoes into shrunken heads. That was a neat kit, shrunken head kit. Those were the good old days, all right. Yep. We didn't know how good we had it, unfortunately. Let's see, my comments are still moving here. Uh, yeah, StreamYard's been getting kind of flaky here lately. I don't know. It's got some weird stuff going on with it. But this is not my usual studio I'm in. I just set up impromptu type studio in the living room here tonight. And I guess I'm lazy. I didn't want to go into the office. So, but I thought I'd put some of my pads together and watch them and see how they did. I also have this up on the big screen over here as well. I'm getting ready to make a shrunken head out of a big Barbie doll head as a gift. That'll make strange crowds. Shrunken head, huh? You're getting in touch with your head hunter side, right? All right. Those headhunters, they're always trying to get what? Ahead. Yep. They're always trying to get ahead. Yeah, Philip, that's right. Some people can do it right, man. I never could do that. I guess I didn't have the time or patience to do it. I was a little bit of a sloppy painter. Well, the paint didn't come out right or something. And that was always, you know what? The paint was more expensive than the model was back in the day. Now, it's probably different now, but back then, the paint cost more than anything else. And you didn't waste it. But I enjoyed putting it together. That was, the challenge. It was like a puzzle, putting it together. I even went so far as doing the big ships. I dig the big ships with the rigging in them, sailing ships with rigging and all that. That was meticulous work, boy. Yeah, it would take hours and hours to do stuff like that. Thank you, SC 007. Listening from Star 11, the enemy of country passion. Well, it's true, they are the enemies of our country. If they're the enemies of our country, they're our enemies as well. Absolutely. Like then, the glue came with an advisory too for car kids. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and you remember how the cap had a little point on it? It always went back inside, to keep it from hardening on it. It never worked. It always would get hard on you eventually. You'd have to scoop out the hard glue to get it to work again. That's the way it went. But we didn't mind. We had a mission. We were on a mission from God. Yep. Oh yeah, planes. Yeah, planes were great. I never got into flying model planes. I never got into that, but I have put them together. Hanging models as we call them. You can hang them from the ceiling. I once put a solar system like that together, which was neat. I put a solar system and all that together as well. Matter of fact, back in the day, I put the lunar module together, and the lunar buggy, I put it together, and it came with little astronauts and all that, and it was on a stand. Boy, that thing would be worth a ton of money right now. My gosh, it was on a stand that hung up with a little moon down below it. It was wild. Man. That was a great model kit. But one of my favorites I put together was the Monsters Coach and the Dragula. That was a mean little race car, that Dragula. Made out of a coffin with a tombstone radiator. That was great. You write songs, huh? Oh, well, we'll have to hear some of those sometime. You'll have to share some of those with us sometime. I used to write songs myself. I have written several books of poetry. I like to dabble with that. Made them all the human body. Oh, yeah, I remember that. The warbirds, corsairs. Oh, yeah, yeah, those warbirds. Yeah. Well, now there's, yeah. You need to make a cryptoology song, a cryptid song. Yeah, that would be neat. Yeah. The moon hangs high on the breast of the lake, and the bite of the wind is like a slap in the face. A legend of horror lurks in the haze. It's Bigfoot. Take care, Jason. Have a good night, buddy. Have a good weekend. And somewhere in the north woods darkness, a creature walks upright. And the best advice you may ever get is don't go out at night. That dog man, the legend of the dog man is a great one too. I have a lot of these on shorts, my friends. If you ever gonna watch them, you go on the YouTube channel and look at the shorts. I have a lot of these on there. The poems and legends and stories. Well, we are entertaining, I hope. Definitely. I hope we are entertaining. Well, thank you, Ed Trip. I enjoy it. I do. I enjoy the wordsmithing thing. You know. Of course, my favorite poet, and I like. You know, a lot of people don't realize H.P. Lovecraft was a great poet. Oh, he was just as good as Poe, buddy. He was really good. And I remember what was the name of that one of my favorite ones that he did was at the end. It says, uh, you know, we find that the starry streams and all that. That was great, man. He did some great poetry. I'll have to do his thing about Dunwich. That was a great poem, by the way. Dunwich. And you know, it says there at the end that that night I found the ancient trail. Boy, that's a good one, boy. But Poe is my all-time favorite. Well, thank you. I try to get the communication across. You know. Oh no, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley wrote Frankenstein. She was a woman, but that wrote Frankenstein. H.P. Lovecraft wrote about the Cthulhu. Cthulhu was one of the ancient gods that was supposedly coming back to take over the world and destroy mankind. Cthulhu and Narthong and some of these other gods that he talked about supposedly. But he did some short stories that were my favorites, like Cool Air about a man that was keeping himself alive with a refrigeration unit. And my favorite of all was Pickman's Model about a painter who was painting demons from real life. Boy, that was a good one. Yes, The Raven. But my favorite is the end of it. And the raven never flitting, still is sitting on the placid bust of palace just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of the demons that is dreaming. And the lamplight streaming throws his shadow on the floor. My soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore. Ah, you don't get much better than that, my friends. Poe is the best. Great short stories too. My favorite short story is the Telltale Heart and the Cask of Amontillado. Actually, I have a credit in one of the Poe films that was out about some of the work of Edgar Allan Poe. They put me in the credits. It was a great thing. They, sort of like a consultant for the movie, but I enjoyed it. I always liked Poe. I know a lot of his work by heart. No, the university, the Miskatonic University. I've got a shirt that says "Student of Miskatonic University." That was great. Miskatonic. Yeah, the cask of Amontillado. I like the way it ends. When he walling that guy up and he puts that last stone into position. I plastered it up against the new masonry. I re-erected the old rampart of bones. For the half of a century, no mortal has disturbed them. In pace records, rest in peace. Yeah, what a great ending. I would not want to get on Poe's bad side. You end up getting walled alive. The cask of Amontillado. That's an Italian wine, by the way. It's very much like a claret or a chateau type wine. This to be very good. Amontillado. Oh yeah, the classics are great, my friend. That's why they're classics. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you all being here tonight. It's been a good open discussion. We need to have more of these definitely, and we will in the future. And I really appreciate you all showing your support and everything. Glad that Da could be here and Heidi Pop and Jessica and everybody else. I appreciate your support and Gerald and Jane and all the rest of you out there so very much. I appreciate you very, very much, definitely. And I would hang in there a little longer. I'm a little under the weather tonight, so I get the feeling better. But it's been a rough week, absolutely. But anyway, I appreciate you all for being here tonight. And like I said at the beginning, they're not going to stop the signal, folks. Not with you guys around. You're my heroes, okay? You guys keep the signal going. Absolutely. You keep me going, that keeps the signal going, okay? And that's what we need. This world needs more of the signal. Absolutely. We're not gonna let them stop it. Yeah, hit the like button on your way out. Please do that. If you haven't subscribed, please do that as well. And talk to your friends about subscribing, okay? Let's get the word out there. The signal needs to go on, but it needs to expand more. Okay. We need to get on out there some more, folks. So let's keep doing it. Okay. Let's keep pushing it on out there for everybody else. All right. And yeah, be careful this weekend out there. Keep your head on a swivel. Definitely keep an eye on your six out there. Okay. And we know some bad things may go down no matter where you're at. You don't have to be in LA. You can be anywhere. So no matter where you're at, be very, very careful, okay? And be aware. Be an aware wolf, okay, folks? Okay. You are already in the wolf tribe, so you need to be an aware wolf. Absolutely. But I really appreciate you all spending some time with me tonight, and it was enjoyable. I'm glad all of you dropped in. Don't forget to be looking for DAY songs book, Monster Hunters of America. The Vampires of Jewett is the name of it, by the way. There's a very interesting vampire case in Jewett City. We all the researchers know about that, but it's a great, interesting story. Very much like the Mercy Brown story. So check it out, and I will be catching all of you hopefully Monday, when me and Mr. Gerald Fountain get together and go down that road less traveled again. Okay. All right, and we hope to see you there at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there or be square, Claire. Okay, and take care of yourselves out there, and be careful, and stay out of those large crowds, definitely. And keep the faith. Hold the line, my friends. Hold the line. That's what we got to do. Let's hold the line and all that, and get that done. Okay. Absolutely. There's DAY Song's uh, address there. Thank you, Gerald. Appreciate that. Put that up, definitely. And I appreciate you all for your support for this channel and for me and all that. It means the world to me. Okay. So let's get together and stay together. Let's be the wolf tribe. Okay. I'm going to tell you what, folks. They got to watch out for the wolf tribe. So we don't play around with them, right? That's right. We don't play around. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And if you need me for anything, you know how to contact me. DennisWCarroll.com. Okay. If you want to join the membership is wide open waiting for you. I'm going to be dropping some videos real this weekend for the members. So get ready. We've got some wild times ahead of us, folks. Okay. Buckle up, buckle down, and buckle in. Okay. Hold the line and be good out there. Be careful and hold on to the light too. Don't live in fear. Walk with the light, my friends, and walk in the light. And until we get back together again, take care of yourselves and Godspeed, my friends. The hunt has begun. Hunting the shadows.